Nice. Oh, wow, we got 59 in. Very, very nice. Welcome, everybody. All right. Deandra, can you share your screen or the RFA? I'm going to wait another, so it's 10:03, everybody. I'm going to wait another 2 minutes to just see how many more people kick on, and then we'll go from there. Perfect. Thank you.
Can everyone see the RFA?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's 10:05. Is it okay if I kick this off? So everybody good? Give me a thumbs up. Perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Scott Shaw. I am the Assistant Director of Homeownership Lending. You guys have joined the pre-application conference call for RFA number 7385, which is the Homeownership Lending Program's RFA. In attendance today, I'd like to highlight Emma Shea Perfecto, who is our Director of Homeownership. I don't know if she's visible, but wave if you are. We got some screen sharing going. We've got my team, our business development development field rep. Wow, why is that a tongue twister today? That's Christina Hatton. And then our loan specialist, Angelica Jimenez. And again, wave if you can right there. From procurement, we have Deandra Llewellyn. She's going to go over the requirements of this procurement. Kim Freeman, the Assistant Director of Homeownership Programs. So, and if I missed anybody, Kim, can you just let me know? If not, we're going to kind of go into the meat of matters and go ahead and go forward. We're good. All right. Okay. So we tried our best to make this application process pretty simple. We're going to share with you as much as we can today. I want you guys to know that this call is being recorded. So you are
Sorry about that. Give me one moment.
Scott, why don't you go ahead and start talking while you're waiting for Deandra to set things up.
You know what's funny is I've been talking for about 2 minutes now.
Oh,
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Shaw, the Assistant Director of Homeownership Lending. Emma Shea Perfecto is our Director of Homeownership. You can see her on the screen right there. Wave and say hello. Hold on. Did I already do this? Was I on mute before? Or I was not on mute before? Help me out.
not on mute, but then you suddenly paused, so I didn't know if you knew
Okay,
what was.
so, all right, we're going to keep going with this then. Again, we've tried to make the application process simple, and hopefully we can answer all of your guys' questions today. The recording of the call is being recorded. So do know that everybody is on mute except for our team. What we would like you guys to do is ask all questions in the chat. Please ask all questions in the chat. If you do not know how to get to the procurement website, there is a link to this application that has been posted since January 31st under our procurement section. All right. So the goal of today's meeting, it's just going to be to walk through this RFA, kind of talk about it, share with basically an overview of this project and how it came to be, and how we engaged with community to develop it, and how it supports our homeownership programs for low to median Oregonians, and how we are excited to have you all here to actually help get this program out to the public. So all of that, again, I'm gonna reiterate, if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. We are excited to answer them, and I think from here, we hand it off to Deandra.
Thank you, Scott. My name is Deandra Llewellyn. I'm with procurement, and some of the items that I'm going to go through are just housekeeping items with regard to the RFA, and just highlight some important areas that I think you all should know moving forward with this RFA. And so first and foremost, I just want to point your attention to the single point of contact that's listed on the RFA. We have started receiving some questions coming in, and so I just want to remind everyone that if you could please send your questions to the contact information that's listed here on this this front page here, the cover page. And so I am the single point of contact at this point in time. So please send all of your questions, inquiries regarding this RFA to me, and you can reach me at this email listed, which is our contracts inbox for procurement. All of the questions will come, and we'll be sure to get them answered in a timely manner. All the answers to the questions will be issued as an addendum and posted on the procurement opportunity page underneath this this listing. Let's see, additionally, we want to talk about the submission requirements for this RFA. Actually, let me go back. Let's go ahead and talk about the schedule of events really quickly before we talk about the submission requirements. The schedule of events, I want to notate that there is a little bit of a discrepancy here with this date. We issued the RFA a day later, and so applications OHCS will begin accepting applications starting February 7th, which is tomorrow. That date is notated on the cover page as well, but here it does say February 6th, and so that is a typo. And so I want to bring your attention to that error. But please, you can start submitting your applications tomorrow. And then also some other dates just to be mindful of is we are accepting applications on a rolling basis. And so what that means is we are going to keep this solicitation open for the foreseeable future. The date notated here is we expect to close this solicitation January 31st, 2028. But please note that these dates are subject to change. And so if we do make any changes to the expiration date, we will be issuing a notice and making that available on the procurement opportunities page. But for now, that is when we expect to close out this solicitation. So moving on to the submission requirements. Here in section 3, the applicant and submission requirements, please pay careful attention to the submission requirements. Go through the requirements and make sure that you're submitting all required documentation in order to meet the RFA requirements. let's see, the submissions, we are accepting submissions via email. And the email, please submit those via encrypted email, and you'll submit that to the single point of contact, which is myself, to that ohcs.contracts inbox, and we'll be sure to review the applications again on a rolling basis. So section 3 is a very important section to be mindful of. Reviewing all of the requirements. The solicitation is a pass-fail, so please just be mindful that you are reviewing it carefully, so that way your application is not missing anything and you are meeting all of the requirements. And in the subject line, when you do submit your email with all questions, any sort of communication that you are submitting to the contracts inbox, please be sure to include in the subject line RFA number 7385. It really does help us, sort through all of the inquiries, questions, submissions to ensure timely responses, and that making sure that we're getting to all of the applications as they come in. We definitely don't want to miss anything. So if you could just include that information in the subject line, that would be very helpful in ensuring that we don't miss any applications or miss any questions or inquiries that come through. And I think that is it. Again, I just want to reiterate, please submit all of your questions, inquiries, submissions to the OHCS contracts inbox. Please review that RFA thoroughly, making sure that you're meeting all of those requirements before you submit your application. And I will go ahead and turn it back over to Scott. Thank you.
Thank you, Deandra. Let's see here. Did you go over, we'll do a little bit of ad lib here for a second. Did you go over the scope, the 2.2.3?
I did not go over the scope.
All right, everybody. Then I'm going to pick up at what we call the scope of work, which is basically, oh, look at that. You got it nailed there for me, page 6. It's at the very, very bottom of page, very, very bottom of page 6, and then we take off. Yep, there we go. So walking through this lender RFA, and it is RFA stands for Request for Applications for those of you that are not are new to this. And this is scope of work is what we want from you. We want you guys to be able to take applications, qualify the borrowers, reserve funds with a department, i.e. lock loans, close and deliver those mortgages to the department or its servicer for purchase. In this case, the department does have a servicer. It is identified, that is Idaho Housing. You guys will underwrite decision and document those mortgages meeting GSE and department guidelines and requirements. GSEs are Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA, Section 184. As for any normal mortgage, you guys are going to meet all compliance constraints, monitor all updates and changes, and deliver everything in a timely manner according to the terms of you guys' reservation. And there is a minimum production requirement of 12 mortgages per year. With respect to licensing, you guys are to, Deandra, can you scroll up just a smidge for me, if you would, please? There we go. All right. So you guys have to, just like any other correspondent arrangement, you guys are supposed to, you need to maintain your licenses, registrations, et cetera, including NMLS, loan officers, et cetera. You need to make sure that you are approved in good standing, not only us, but with our servicer. Again, that's Idaho Housing that we were talking about. You have to be approved with the appropriate GSE with which program you guys have reserved the funds with. If you're doing a Fannie Mae loan, you have to be approved with Fannie. If you're doing a Freddie, you have to be approved with Freddie. If you're doing a Ginnie Mae, meaning FHA, VA, USDA, et cetera, you do need to be approved with those entities. From a liquidity and warehousing standpoint, you have to have the ability to fund loans on your own, in your own name, whether that be cash or via warehouse line of credit. You also have to have the ability to service mortgages on an interim basis until they are purchased by our servicer. You do need to be able to assist us with any post-closing items that we may need help with. And please know that if you have originated an ineligible mortgage, you are going to be required to repurchase that. You have to have the technology to be able to meet our security requirement standards, which is included in this RFA. Two programs. So let's scroll a little bit. There we go. You do need to stay informed of all of the program announcements and respond to all of the inquiries, et cetera, that we have. I think we're on to minimum requirements. I do want to talk about this. This is something that we did. We wanted to make sure, because this is for low to median income Oregonian home buyers, most of which are probably going to be first-time home buyers, is that we have the requirement that either the office, this is the people that are originating and processing these loans, are within 50 miles of Oregon's border. We thought about putting it inside Oregon's border, but to be quite honest with you, when you start talking about, there are people that have relationships in Vancouver. If you're in more rural areas like Ontario, Oregon, a lot of those resources come from places like Boise. So we wanted to make sure that we were flexible enough that what is considered local to a borrower is what we were able to deliver to them. Let's see here. I think we talked a lot about the licensing and the approvals and the funding. So let's go ahead and go on to, homebuyer education. Homebuyer education will be done by our home ownership centers for all first-time homebuyers. And I'm going to kind of do a little tangent on you a little bit. Fees, there is a $250 application fee, and then annually, when you renew your contract or agreement, it will be $250. And that agreement is, I think we're going to get to that a little bit later. We are going to ask for resumes of all of the key individuals, identifying your conflicts of interest if there are, but let's get on to the submission requirements in 3.2. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. Did I really already get through all of that? Deandra, did I get that? Yeah, I think I did. No, this is it. I apologize, everybody. I think we've hit, did we do, there we go, 3.2.2. Scroll down for me. Yeah, no, that was it. See, really nice and easy. I think it's only like 57 pages or something. Go ahead, Abhishek. I know you're going to say something.
Well, I was like, we kept it simple for a reason, Scott.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought it was way more complicated than that. So,
Scott, there's quite a few questions. You want me to go ahead and do that now?
let me take a look, see to make sure that I am hitting everything.
Okay.
Actually, before that, let me just kind of talk a little bit about, so we talked about lender requirements, right? About where lenders are in the state. The other thing that we kind of want to let you know is one of the things that we did kind of set up was that we wanted to make sure that there was statewide coverage. So what I do want you to know as lenders is if we become underrepresented in, say, rural areas of Oregon, we are going to reserve the right to address those applications first. And this application does not cover just the Flex Lending program. It does cover the bond program. Kim Freeman is on this call with me. That is her program. So Flex Lending is my side. Bond is Kim's side. The amount and the concentration of the bond will be governed by what the bond program needs as well. And do need to let you know that. And then I want to talk to you guys about the DPA structure that we have for Flex Lending. The DPA is based on income of the borrower. Maximum income for this program is $125,000. And we basically broke these income constraints up like this: below 80% AMI, 80 to 120, and then over 120% AMI. If your borrowers have an AMI of 80% or less, that is going to be a, what we would call a silent second or a forgivable second or a second that's forgiven over time. AMI that is over 80% is a repayable second. It will be an amortized second with the interest rate of the first mortgage plus one. And then the last thing I want to talk about is that we have two different kinds of DPA. We have our standard DPA, which is a 4% DPA. And then if borrowers do choose to apply, we have something called a focused demographic DPA. And that is aimed to address our underserved communities. We will have a copy of that document available for you. And that's a 5% DPA. It has a little bit more favorable terms as well. I think that's what I wanted to wrap up before we started talking to Christina and answering questions. But Deandra, do you have anything to add before we go on to that next step?
No, I don't have any more to add. Thank you, Scott.
All right, let's answer your questions, folks.
Okay, I will go ahead and read them out to you and you're going to provide the answer, right, Scott?
To the best of my ability, and if it's a procurement question, Deandra, I'm calling an audible.
There we go. Okay, Jill Godsey.
Sorry, before you start, why don't you take the shared screen off? And Scott, I'm just curious how many folks on this call have had worked with procurement and have that background knowledge as far as working with state procurement, and might have some questions around just the general, like why we have a single point of contact, some of those things, and then go through it. Because I don't know, I mean, if we hear from everybody that they have worked with procurement before, state procurement, then we're good to go. But just, might want to fill them in on why we have a single point of contact and some of those pieces. Just because I'm not sure that everybody on this call has that experience. Just making sure. Scott, did you catch me?
Well, I don't have the ability to unmute everybody, so that's going to have to be.
Well,
Angelica, unmute.
Well, we
all.
can do a raise of hands. They can raise their
that's
hands
fine.
and we
Raise
can get a
hands.
real quick read on the room just to know if we need to go
Sorry.
through that. So hands up if you've worked with state procurement. Let's do it that way. Okay, I see 3 people, so.
Somebody
maybe 4.
mentioned Emma Shea, somebody mentioned defined state procurement.
Doing business with the state. It's just as simplistic as possible. So I see Juan on there. I know he's done business with the state, but I'm not getting. Okay, so that very quickly, Scott, why don't you, or I can do it, it doesn't matter.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it. You put yourself on mute, or.
I didn't mean to, but go ahead, Scott.
All right. So procurement for those. Hey, Desi Estrada. So procurement, for everybody that has not understood procurement, it is basically anytime you want to do business with a governmental entity, the government does not reach out and ask you to do business with them. The state puts out proposals or requests for application, such as this, and proposals are brought forth to the state, and we analyze them based upon the criteria that we have. That is as easy as I can do it. And Emma Shea, you're probably going to say something a little bit in addition to that.
Yeah, and I was talking about the single point of contact.
I was headed there.
Okay.
So part of those rules, so all of you guys know, is unlike for our lenders that are out there, unlike our lenders that have AEs come in and solicit business from them, asking people to sign up, etc. We issue an RFA, and we will invite you to apply and show you where our link is on our website. But in all reality, we don't come in and say, please sign up, please sign up, because legally we can't, because that's showing favoritism for one organization or another. So that is why we have the single point of contact, and that is super important. If you guys send myself, my boss, Emma Shea, or anybody else at the state an email with respect to, even if you know us personally, with respect to questions about getting signed up, we're going to send them straight to Deandra, and we're probably going to CC you as well, so that you know that she's got to answer all questions with respect to applying to become an approved lender with the state. Now, when it comes to program questions and stuff like that, come and ask them all day long, right?
Not during procurement, Scott. That is incorrect. Sorry. So I'll jump in here. Just very quick, because I know that some folks might know Scott or Christina in particular in this field. And so I'm just trying to avoid some of those situations. If you have any questions during the procurement, once you're approved, then it's a different conversation. But before you're approved, all questions go to Deandra. And that is in the interest of fairness. Because that's what the state does. We want to be fair with everybody. We don't want to show any preferential treatment because maybe we know somebody from one of the offices. So all questions go to Deandra. Deandra then literally will ask us if there are specific questions. But once you're approved and you've gone through the approval process, then your point of contact changes to Scott as well as Christina. No, Scott, loan programs questions can't go to you until after they've been approved because this is an approval process. So Scott's asking me questions in the background. So I just want to clarify all questions as soon as this hits the, as soon as this opens, then we can no longer answer those questions. And it's not an us thing. It's a procurement requirement. So please address those. And that was the only thing that I wanted to clarify because we don't want anybody to say that there was any impropriety along the way because that could affect your application, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. All right, that was it. Scott, Christina, why don't you guys go ahead and start answering your more specific questions because now's the time for those.
Okay, there's a question from Joe Godsey. Is there a deadline for submissions?
5 years from January 31st. I think it's 2028.
Okay,
That's
Alex.
Right, Deandra? See, I shouldn't answer that one.
That's correct. So we are accepting applications on a rolling basis. According to the schedule of events, we expect to close the solicitation January 31st, 2028. But again, that date is subject to change and we will be sure to notify or make a notification available if for any reason that date does change. But we are accepting on a rolling basis. So there is at this point no, I guess, hard date within the next, month or two. So it's please submit your applications and continue to do so.
Okay, Alexandra Roseman asked, is there a limit to the number of new lenders that will be accepted?
Okay, Deandra, if I remember right, our procurement says is that we anticipate adding it's either 100 or 200 lenders or up to, but there is no hard cap, right?
To my recollection, though, there is no specific cap.
Yeah,
listed
I
in our
thought that's exactly how we wrote it. So
Scott, this is Kim. I think how it really is, and you alluded to it in your opening, is geographic coverage. That's really where we're going to be focusing, that we want geographic coverage.
yeah, so actually, so let me expand on that a little bit more so that it is a little bit clearer. There is no hard cap on the number of lenders, but when we get to where we think that there is a saturation, or there needs to be a focus on areas that are underserved, we will put a pause on things until we can get that coverage.
And I just want to add that's why we went with an RFA. So it gives us the ability to keep it open and close it if we need to, but and that addresses that whole geographic area piece so that we can, if for some reason, Southern Oregon does not have coverage, we can leave it open and just be accepting applications, but maybe Eugene is completely saturated. And so we've turned it off for a while. We can then at some point go, okay, we're good. We can open it back up again so that we have the luxury with this particular tool that we've used from procurement to do those things. And it's commonly used across the state, but that's just our ability to make sure that there's even coverage, not even, but coverage across the state of Oregon.
Okay, thank you. Travis Wallace asked, are new lenders limited to seller servicers, or will TPO lenders be allowed to participate?
Travis, good question. At this point, they need to be seller servicers. We're exploring TPO options, but we are not quite ready for that at this time. So thanks for asking. I appreciate that.
Okay, Terry Moore asked, given encrypted emails are limited and there's a great deal of data, is there any way other than email to submit?
So Terry, and I'll probably get a little bit of audible from Deandra on this, but the way that when I was in the lending community that we would send things is that we put things in Adobe. We would attach and it would have a password, and we'd literally pick up the phone and call who we sent it to and said, here's what the password is. Deandra, is that acceptable?
And to be honest, I have not received submissions in that format. So I would need to get some additional clarification before I answer that question. And then I can definitely provide that answer with the remainder of the questions.
Okay, Lee Trumbull asked, if a lender is approved to sell loans through FHLB, does that meet the third requirement?
So does that mean, Lee, that you are a Fannie Freddie Ginnie approved, or are you a bank, or I need a little bit more information than that? It doesn't
we're-
quite answer.
So can you hear me?
Sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a credit union
Okay,
and we deliver loans really direct right to Fannie through the Federal Home Loan Bank.
okay, so you're Fannie Mae approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just can't deliver. Technically, I can't deliver direct to them. I have to go through FHLB.
Is that a constraint of being a credit union, maybe?
Is that what?
That might be a constraint of being a credit union. I want to do a little bit more research before I answer that, because I don't want to lead you
Okay.
astray. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, that's a very fair question. Thank you.
Okay, so Ann Tramble asked, what is the name of the servicer and is there an agency approval required prior to closing?
Ann, good question. So the servicer is going to be Idaho Housing, IHFA, as we know them. And apparently I'm a little bit quiet, so I'm going to try to turn myself up a little bit. I don't know if this is going to help or not. Can you guys hear me any better now? A little bit? All right. Okay, so Idaho Housing is the servicer. You do need to be approved by Idaho Housing, and that will be part of the constraints of the requirements of becoming approved with us. So it happens in tandem. Good question.
Mhm. Ken Eminger asked, is there a fillable application available?
The application that we have is on our procurement website. I do not know that that is fillable. You can make it fillable if you like, but we don't have it set up fillable, no, sir.
We can make that change. That's not a problem.
And there we have it. Thank you, Deandra.
John Hartman, will you have a brick and mortar requirement for originators?
I think we talked about it a little bit, is so the requirement for originators will be that the originator's office and the office that that loan is processed in is either in Oregon or within 50 miles of Oregon border.
Thomas Kramzak said, does the Oregon branch need to have been in operation for a specific length of time, and do loan officers need to reside in the state in order to originate?
Wow, that's super specific. I'm not going to tell you that you have to have the office a specific period of time. You just need to if you're originating for us, you need to have that office. So it doesn't mean, so for the people that would open one and close one, and none of the people that are spending the time with us and investing the time here are gonna be the people that are gonna do this. But yeah, you can't open and close doors and say we met the requirement, right? So, and as far as the loan officers, you can be, I know loan officers in Boise that originate with relationships with credit unions in Eastern Oregon all the time. That's completely fine. It's within 50 miles of the border. So thank you for asking.
Mhm. Alexander Roseman, who is the master servicer, and we've talked about that, it's Idaho. Kevin Spencer made a comment, home loan servicing is in the name of Idaho Housing Service Department. Let's see here. John Hartman, you mentioned originating and processing within 50 miles. Can underwriting and funding occur outside these boundaries?
I don't have any issue with that. Yeah, we do understand that from an underwriting and a funding standpoint, that from a logistics standpoint, that does happen outside the boundaries on a regular basis. So.
Jill Godsey asks, what is the application timeline, application to lender approval expected to be?
Deandra, I'm going to yield to you on that one.
Sorry, what was the question again?
The application timeline for lender approval.
I think we hope within 2 to 3 weeks, there will be a review by procurement, and then also a review by Scott and his team as well before those applications are, before a decision is reached with those applications. And then once those decisions are reached, then procurement would need to work directly with the lender to develop an agreement. So my goal is 2 to 3 weeks, potentially 4. I think it depends on the volume as well. So hopefully more to come on that timeline as we kind of nail down what that really looks like as far as the volume as well. And so that more detailed information regarding that timeline will also be posted with these answers to these questions.
Thank you. Amina Oakland Lawan, is the application process the same for lenders that are already approved with the OHCS bond program?
Jim, do you want to talk about this at all? I will say that the application process from the Flex side of the world is going to be the same.
I want to make sure if you are an approved bond lender today, you will still need to apply to be a Flex approved lender to provide our Flex lending program. Sorry, that's a mouthful this morning, but yeah, you will need to apply.
Okay. Will TPO lenders be able to participate? That's from Lois.
And I think we answered that one.
Mhm.
With respect to TPO, we're working on a solution for that, but we're going to roll the program first and then address that as time goes by.
Jill Anderson, will you be emailing this out to the participants? Not sure what.
I need a little bit more clear. Jill, I needed some clarification. Help me out here.
So probably just going to the contracts, the website for procurement is where all this information is.
Yes. So we will be posting questions, answers to questions on the procurement website. I think that answers what Jill is looking for.
Yeah.
Scott, did you also say you're going to post the recording on the website as well?
Yes. Yes. This webinar will be on that, will be on our procurement website as well. For those of the people that could not be here.
That's correct. So all information pertaining to this solicitation will be able to will be located on the procurement opportunities page. So you'll be able to find all of the information that you need pertaining to this solicitation.
BP Mitchell asked, we expect to submit several attachments to inbox. Is there a limit capacity for your inbox? It might take several emails to get to you, everything. Or is there a Dropbox we can use?
There is not a Dropbox available. And I don't know what the exact capacity is for our email inbox, but it is an inbox that is used for the purposes of solicitations, with the intent of receiving electronic submissions. And so I believe the capacity is pretty high, but that's actually a question for my our IT department to get the specifics on that.
Okay, somebody just asked for the link to the website. And I just posted it at the bottom of the chat. Let me see here. I'm gonna go back up here. Okay, so. Oh, actually, Talia, thank you. You had already posted that. Is there backroom training to approved lenders? BP Mitchell.
Yeah, actually, not only is there's all kinds of training, there's required training. In fact, there is so much training that I don't even know what to do with all of the training. So yeah, no, there is backroom training, there is front room training, and we're actually pretty darn excited about it. So thank you for asking. We do want, here's the thing is that you guys are investing a significant amount of time and resources into putting this application together and getting approved. And we want you guys to be able to put your best foot forward, seriously. So thank you for asking.
Let's see, Terry Moore, if we have standard reports documents which contain the same information that is on the questionnaire, is it acceptable to reference those documents on the application and provide those documents?
Oh, I hate to say this, but it needs to be on our documents, on our format. And this is not to be mean or to be rude. And DeAndre, I probably should have let you answer this. But one of the things and one of the reasons that we're doing things the way that we're doing is to try to get some standardization to make things consistent. And unfortunately, that's going to have to be consistent for our side of the world. So
I agree with you, Scott. Yes, thank you.
Okay, let me get caught up here. Link, backroom training. Will OHCS have an underwriter review a loan package for a clear to close approval before the lender funds the loan? Yeah, Scott, that's what Hilltop's doing, the compliance review. I think that's what they're talking about.
So we'll just have, no, but we won't have an underwriter review the loan package.
Yeah,
So we will have a pre-closing compliance review, and then we will have a post-closing compliance review. You get into, quite honestly, what I'm going to call a sticky wicket when we have underwriters review things. And the challenge is that then it's not your underwriter who is delegated by Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, et cetera. They're not making the decision any longer. So the decisions need to be made by your underwriter.
Christina,
Mhm.
can I jump in and ask a question that was directly
Yeah.
sent to us? So this was from Jennifer Dunn, and she says, for those of us that are new to OHCS, can you go over the products that will be available? Fixed and ARM products for conventional FHA, VA, USDA. Also, what is the repayment term for DPA?
Wow, that is a big, long question. So no ARM products. That's the first start, easy. No ARM products, all 30-year fixed. when it comes to the first mortgages, that's FHA, VA, USDA, Section 184, conventional being Fannie or Freddie. When it comes to the DPA does depend on the AMI, and it depends on whether it's the standard DPA or whether it's the focused demographic DPA. I could go way into it, but it would be easier for us to post something as we post the answers than to answer all of that in long format in this venue.
Okay, let's see. Back to Terry Moore's question about secure emails. Would share file be an acceptable form of transfer?
Deandra, I'm gonna leave that one.
I'm gonna say, I don't believe so.
Okay.
It would have to be direct email submission, excuse me.
Let's see here. Okay, so Christy Matson said we are a correspondent lender, but use our own funds to fund the loan, then sell to investor. Is that allowed?
Yeah, there are lenders out there that use cash. You just have to show that you have that liquidity if you don't have a warehouse line of credit. So that's part of that application process. So, yep.
Okay, so Kevin Spencer, if we already do business with Idaho Housing, would this be a separate approval or will the current approval be sufficient?
It is, in fact, we have confirmed that with Idaho Housing. It is a separate approval.
But if they're already approved,
It
that's
is,
what we need.
okay, yes, let's into the minutia. They are still going to review. It is not going to be a full-on application. It is going to be an addendum. But quite honestly, that is something that I want you guys to discuss with Idaho Housing because that is their process, their criteria.
Okay, so Anne Tramble asks, on the individual loans, is an OHCS pre-approval required?
Let me read that question. Isn't OHCS pre-approval?
On the individual loans, is an OHCS pre-approval required?
Okay. I am willing to bet that has to do with, I'm going to guess, Anne, if you're still in here.
Yes, I am. It's a question relative to the compliance approval on each file. And you've already said you have a compliance approval
Okay.
requirement.
Yeah.
So that pre-closing compliance approval is required. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Pamela Ranslam asked, can the lender be outside of Oregon? I work with a lender for South Dakota that offers HUD Section 184.
The answer to that would be if you and your office are in Oregon or within 50 miles of Oregon's border, and the loan is processed in Oregon or within 50 miles of Oregon's border, the answer to that would be yes. If the answer to that is no, then no.
Okay, Veronica Lopez said, let's see, under the RFA 7385 application, documents attachment B is the sample agreements. Can you advise when the final agreement will be posted, or will this not be provided until the lender's applications have been reviewed and approved?
Deandra?
The final agreement or contract will not be made available until after the application has been approved. So we have made every effort to ensure that the terms and conditions within the sample is exactly as how it would read at the final contracting stage. So that is as close as it's going to be at this point, with the final not being made available until after you've been approved.
Okay, so Michael Hoyt asked, is there a different application for the bond program? We have not done business with Oregon previously, but would like to be approved to offer all products.
So the application is the same. There's an addendum A and an addendum B. Addendum A is flex lending, addendum B is bond.
Okay, so Tammy Morgan asked, does this approval also get you approval for the Oregon Bond Program? And you just asked that. Jill Anderson, I think this was back to her question, and I'm gonna have to follow up with that since the page 16 page doc. Jill, are you still hearing? Did you get your question answered? Or do we need to go back? The 16 page doc. We'll come back to that one in a second, or I can follow up with an email. Laurel Jacobson, to clarify, is it permissible for a loan officer to originate a loan if working remotely from home, as long as the NMLS brick and mortar office they are affiliated with is located within 50 miles of the OR border?
Loan officer. I'm gonna say it louder. The loan officer's office that they work out of. And where that loan is processed and the processor all have to be in Oregon's border or within 50 miles of Oregon's border.
Thank you. Okay, so Travis Wallace. Scott, if at some point TPO is added, how would this be communicated?
That is an awesome question. Travis, you need to sign up for our updates, and we will send out a technical advisory or a release that would let you know that there are changes to the program.
Okay, and Jill did get her question answered. Let's see, Alexandra Roseman, will you accept general lender's resolution showing the authorized officers able to execute HFA program docs? That's a Deandra.
Is that a question for me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is. So Alexandra asked, will you accept general lender's resolution showing the authorized officers able to execute HFA program docs?
I'm not exactly sure what that's asking. I'm sorry.
So it's a corporate resolution, I believe, Deandra. I'd like to go back and review our documents before we answer that. Is the honest answer. If
Okay,
that's-
that's fine.
Yeah. Alexandra, we'll follow up with you on that. Let's see, Brielle Ferris, do we need to execute the sample agreement? And do you accept electronic signatures?
You do not need to execute the sample agreement, and at the time of contract execution, we do accept electronic signatures.
Okay. Ann Tramble, she said, we originate both retail and wholesale. May we offer this program to our wholesale partners?
Alexandra, if you guys want to offer this as TPO, that is acceptable to us.
Okay, so, and this is Alex, okay, let's see, in lieu of the corporate resolution in the RFA. So following back up to Alexandra's question, she just said in lieu of the corporate resolution in the RFA. So she's saying.
Alexandra, thank you for that clarification. I want to read through our document first before
Okay.
we give you a definitive answer on that. I appreciate that clarification. That was good.
Yeah, Alexandra, can you put in the chat your email address so we can follow up on that? Jennifer Ramirez asked, is the agreement negotiable?
Kim, audible.
There are certain elements of the contract that may be negotiable as outlined within the terms and conditions of the sample contract. And so the actual sample contract will speak to the areas of the agreement that are contract that are negotiable. Yeah, I think those areas would be negotiable potentially.
Okay. Jennifer Dunn asked if a lender has centralized processing of loans that is outside the 50-mile radius of Oregon, will this eliminate a lender from being approved even if the loan originators are located in the state of Oregon?
At this time, yes.
Okay. Let me keep going. I think this might be it. Let me. I think that's it. And we are pretty much at the top of the hour. I don't see anything else. Yep. All questions are done.
Well, I'm not used to being on time. I'm used to things going longer.
I know, right?
Wow. Before we close and wrap all of this up, from my team, from Kim Freeman, Kim Shea Perfecto, from Christina, Angelica, Deandra, Talia, do you guys have anything that you think that we should highlight before we shut that puppy down?
Yes, I just wanted to respond to the chat where individual emails are being given for responses to questions. I just want to clarify that all responses to the questions will be made available on the procurement's opportunities page under the solicitation, as we cannot provide individual responses to individual applicants. Just in the spirit of transparency and fairness, we must make those available to all on our procurement opportunities page.
Okay, thank you, Deandra, for clarifying. That was my bad.
No problem, you're welcome.
Scott, this is Kim. One thing I'll just remind everyone, unless Scott, it's on your list, but when you send in questions, please ensure that you are putting your RFA 7385 number in the subject line, because our question email box is for every current solicitation that this agency is administering, and we are extremely busy with a lot of active solicitations. So to ensure that our team can make sure we get your questions answered, please put the 7385. And I know there's a lot of current lending partners on this call and new ones, but again, please do not reach out to this team at all. That includes Cheryl Lyons, who's our residential loan specialist for the Oregon Bond Program, or myself. We appreciate you guys reaching out, but we really cannot speak to you, and you need to direct those questions. And then the goal, Deandra, please correct me if I'm wrong, that those questions are usually posted once a week. The questions and answers are posted once a week to our website, so everyone knows when they can expect to see the answers to today and future questions.
Correct, yeah, so we endeavor to have them made available within a week of having those questions provided to us. And so, yes, I think because this is an open solicitation and it's going to be ongoing, I fully anticipate questions to continue to just kind of come in. And so 1 week is our goal.
Hey, Scott, I think we're at time. I want to thank everybody for coming and your interest in this procurement. Anything else that we have to add, we'll be adding to the website. Thank you very much. And Scott, any final words?
I want to thank you all for all of your great questions. We are excited about bringing this to Oregon. I think we're going to make number 46 in the nation that has this product available. And we really do look forward to not only partnering with you, but helping low to medium income Oregonians become homeowners. Thank you for all of your guys' efforts. And thanks for the great questions. Have a great day.